you guys, I wanted to hop on and talk about how my nutrition isn't always perfect. You know, I've been following a routine and a regimen for a very long time. I love following meal plans. I love being consistent. I actually really enjoy eating the same thing every day too. That's just me, but sometimes I'm not perfect, and especially when I'm not on prep. And lately I've been thinking about what my habits are like when I'm not in prep for bikini competition. And I realized that when I'm in prep, I am seriously like 120% all or nothing. Like, you can't even convince me to take a lick of anything. Like, I just will not do it. And then when I'm not in prep, I very much follow like my food freedom principles. I'm very much all about making sure that I'm not depriving myself. Roxy just ran in here. Making sure I'm not depriving myself of certain things that I want, but also it's important to, she's trying to get her water on me. Also making sure though that in that process of not depriving myself, I'm also not going against my goals. So sometimes I have a habit of doing something that my family likes to call mousing, where I'll go to the cabinet or I'll go to the fridge and I'll just like mouse on little things that I want, but I'm not going to have a bunch of. For me lately, I realized, and this was kind of my awakener, was chocolate chips. I got these like dark chocolate chips at the store and I opened the bag, and then every day I was going over to the bag and I was like just eating it whenever I walked by. And I realized this was an old pattern, an old habit that I used to have that ended up making my fitness goals a lot more difficult to achieve. And I've been through a lot in terms of nutrition, in terms of fitness. I've had a very unhealthy relationship with my body, with food, and with exercise. So I'm very conscious of my habits, and I'm really mindful about the things I do. So even though I always follow a plan or stick to a certain amount of macronutrients and eat really clean, and I eat the same thing, like I said, I have my downfalls. So I wanted to share what I've been doing to kind of get over this lately, especially if you're like a mindless mouser or if you're someone who has a tendency to kind of stray away from their plan, like especially if you're into macros. So essentially, it was saying low network connection, that's why I was backing away a little bit. But essentially what I do and what I did this week, I always prep all my food at the beginning of the week. So I have like a bulk amount of rice, chicken, etc. So this right here is like chicken and rice, but for a long time, I haven't been putting it into its separate packages. I really just prep it in bulk, and then I measure it out each day as I go, depending on what I want. But what I noticed was there were some foods going uneaten because I'd be like, oh, I'm going to replace this protein with a protein bar. Or, oh, I'm going to have this instead. And I realized that that wasn't serving me or my goals, and I was really missing my true identity, which is the person who thrives off of routine and regimen. And for some people they don't, but for me I do, and I was starting to feel like there was a disconnect. And like I've mentioned in previous posts, so much of, especially guilt, anything we feel like that resistance is likely because we have a disconnect with our identity. So I was like, well, what do I need to do to feel more like me? And I've been getting this nudge to just do more of what makes me feel good, empowered, and that's routine. So what have I done to distract myself from the like mindless eating and nibbling? I worked it into my routine. So I have this little sauce package that I usually use for supplements, but I kind of consider chocolate a supplement, to be honest, every day. But I fill this up, and it fits exactly 16 chocolate chips, and that's what I work in. But here's the deal, guys. I actually worked this into my meal plan. Before, I was just doing it, and I felt like I was only doing it because I could, right? Like, I'm not on prep, I can do this. Not because I really wanted it or because it made me feel good. So I rewrote my meal plan and my nutrition plan because I needed to. I really need to figure out what my base level is. My body has been through a hell of a lot, as you guys know, since my show. So this is really helping me determine what my body needs as I've undergone these different changes. So also, I know I'm wearing a hat inside, but I love this hat. I literally just got it. It says "You Can," and I think it's just really, really cute. Side note. But anyways, those are some of the things that I've been doing. I tracked it. So essentially what that means is I included it into my macros and my caloric needs for the week. So I follow the same eating plan every single day because I just like to do that. It makes my life really easy. But the things that I like, which is like chocolate, I've actually worked into the plan. So now I feel good when I eat it. I feel like I'm still following what I need, and I know that I'm not going overboard. So instead of grabbing 16 chocolate chips every time I walk by the bag, I'm having 16 total for the day that I'm just enjoying when I want it. So it's not just like a because I can thing, it's a because I want to, and it makes me feel good, and it's actually part of the plan. So it's all about understanding yourself mentally and knowing what's going to be working best for your body. If you can make small commitments to yourself, that's a huge deal too. So at the beginning of this week, I did a lot of personal reflection, asking myself, like, what's different about prep versus non-prep? Why am I this way or that way? What do I need right now? And I asked myself, what are 3 things I can commit to make me feel better? Number 1, always drink at least a gallon of water a day. I tend to be pretty good about my water intake, but when I slack, I feel so different. I don't feel like myself. Things don't, like, mentally and physically, I'm not in flow as much, and I just don't feel like me. Again, it kind of goes back to the identity. I'm an athlete, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, I'm a competitor. Those are my identity statements, right? I'm a businesswoman, I'm a successful person. Successful people drink water. That's just like a connection I have to that identity. So this is just to explain that. And then I said, well, what else can I do? Taking my supplements every day. That has been massive in my hormonal health, which has been my biggest goal and commitment. Set all physique goals aside, all aesthetics. The shape of my body, did not matter anymore. I needed my hormone health to be on point, to achieve more in my life, to feel better, and, to compete again one day. So hormonal health became a big deal. So I said, okay, I can commit to taking my supplements every day, which, to be honest, I have not been struggling with, but it feels good to say I can make that commitment to myself. So I never skip it, and it really becomes a priority. That includes having apple cider vinegar in the morning, or whatever supplement, meaning like the things that I do daily. That's also inclusive of like my daily journaling, or some form of personal development ritual. I consider that like supplemental as well. And then third thing I said I could commit to was actually following my plan to the absolute best of my ability, and asking, and how do I do this? When I say following my plan, because I don't want you to think like restriction, but what I do now is every time before I eat, so for example, right now, I'm having a protein shake with peanut butter. I just got some on my hat. Protein shake with peanut butter and banana. And the protein is chocolate graham cracker, actually from Edge Subs. It's their old line flavor, but it's from Edge Subs, and I have a code on edgesubs.com. It's Celeste15. Besides the point, I'm asking myself before every meal, what is the benefit of me having this? Why am I choosing to have this? Why this food? So this creates a mindfulness pattern beyond the body, beyond health, but for me. So yeah, I used to go, well, I'm eating this protein because it's going to help me build muscle, and it's going to help me recover, and I need my essential aminos. And then I realized like health is a priority to me that already drives my decisions. So what do I need that goes deeper than that? And I realized so much of what was showing up was identity. So what does eating this make me feel like as a person, as a business owner, as a coach, as a competitor, as someone who values health? So those are the things that I've just been asking myself and holding myself accountable to. So instead of prepping food in bulk, I prepped in bulk and then separated into the separate containers. That's to hold me accountable to eating every single meal I've got on my plan. Instead of being like lackadaisy about the water intake, making sure I get it every single day. Being on point with my supplements, from the actual supplements to things like daily rituals and apple cider vinegar. Those were things I wasn't struggling with, but it helps me to feel even more accomplished. and connected to me. And then the third thing was more mindfulness in the eating based on what it does for me as a person, as an owner of a business, as a coach. So really connecting back to the identity. So I really hope that you found this helpful and you can understand that, even those of us who practice what we preach every day can still struggle, but it's about what you do with that struggle. If you have a means to overcome it, will you? Right? Will you overcome it rather than letting it overcome you? You are not a failure. You are not off track. You've just been presented an opportunity to come up with a solution. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this gives you guys some ideas for some solutions as well moving forward. If you're struggling with anything in regard to your nutrition or your wellness or your health or your fitness, feel free to reach out with some questions or share your goals with me. I would love to chat with you about how you can achieve those goals and make your life easier. I don't have to change my whole life to fix these things. I just have to make small, conscious decisions for myself every single day, and you can do the same thing with regard to your lifestyle and your needs. So with that being said, let me know if you need any help, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're watching this video. Just make it awesome.